Right, so if anyone saw yesterday's short were broken down on the donkey in the middle of town centre, quickly realised there was some kind of ignition issue or electrical issue. That's what it was. Thankfully the front end on this isn't actually too difficult to disassemble. It's two Allen keys up here, up on the top here, like douche douche douche, and the whole thing just falls forward and you can see it all in there. The reason these normally fail, I mean this has happened to quite a few of these Benellis, is well, cheap wiring for a start off, and B, when it's all in there, it all just gets right compacted in there and it's not routed very well. I'll need to look into that, see if I can reroute this wiring a little bit or something, give it a little bit more play. But it just bends and bends here, and well, initially I know this wire was broken, and just by elimination the ignition wire. Immediately I was checking, obviously around ignition wire has a red wire and is it a red wire? Ah, there it is. So bring it out for the camera. There's the ignition connector and it's a red white. So immediately I knew, seeing a red one there, that was part of the ignition, and it was hanging on by a thread, so no wonder it was having the problems. I also noted this one when I was looking, that this one was a bit split. It wasn't like this. A minute, I'll explain all this in a second. But yeah, it wasn't like that, but I did notice this one was a bit split. We finally got home, so I managed to get back all the way home. I don't know how, because upon closer examination there wasn't just one or two, there was actually 7 in total. I believe they're indicators. I'm not sure what the purple's for yet. That I'm guessing is going to be an earth. What the others are for, not too sure yet. I'm still going through the wiring diagram and checking which one's which. You can actually get the whole loom for about 60-70 quid brand new if you know the right person. So I might be doing that, but in the meantime we're just going to fix it up. Last night I was trying to record me doing the other side. Basically all I'm going to do, I was going to use all the Wagos, but literally 7 of them all together, it's a big massive block and it just won't work. So in the end I've decided that we're going to go for, like this one here. I wish I had one like that, but at the minute I've got a 6 at spare. I'll be contacting Sumitomo when I can get hold of a much better one, but for now this will do. Yeah, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but last night I did all these. Obviously got all the connectors and chopped the other side and did that. Obviously today just having a go at this side. I did record the other side, but it just didn't come out well. It's in such an awkward spot to film. Even this is a bit awkwardish, but we're gonna have a go. We're gonna have a go. First and foremost, let's start with this black one. So I need to chop it up, just clean it up a little bit before I do sever it. Just the wire strippers. So I'm gonna go. These are so hit and miss. I was using these last night, but sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Got that. Got a bit off. Need a little bit more. Let's see if that bit of insulation is good. This is where, actually, when a lot of electricians say they prefer these over them strippers, I understand fully why. Let you go in. I just need that. And as you can see, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to look at replacing the whole loom. I'd love to rebuild it, but because the diagram that is given for this is very poor, very poor, and even for me it's quite tricky to understand some of it. I mean, half the actual instruments themselves are written in Chinese and you don't even know what they are, so really difficult thing to translate. And if I was to build on my own, the time and what's it, when 60-70 pounds will get me a brand spanking new one, and then I can just reinforce this. Now I know it's a weak spot on the loom. I mean, I've already gone over most of it before and it's not too bad, but I was expecting it here anyway because of how the wire just flexes and flexes and flexes, and it's happened on multiple people. And as you can see, the issue's been here quite a while because you can see some black tinting. And if you hear machinery, I do apologise, there's some work's going down below me. But to get rid of this, I mean, like I said, mostly you should replace the actual entire wire strip, or well, that whole circuit piece if the wire's black like this. But if you do just want to get it running for now, then before you throw another contact on, what you want to do, as you can see, I'm just took a bit of WD-40 and we're just scraping it with a wire brush, and what you'll see in a second is we'll see it all coming off. Just kind of separate the bristles a bit, really get in there. Same on the other side. Basically just have to give the whole thing a good scrubbing with a wire brush, get all that burnt off. And you want fresh shiny copper, and you can reattach your terminal to that and then you'll get it working again for now. I mean, that black wire, I mean, I'd put that down slightly to poor insulation on the foot, well, poor wiring to begin with, and if it has been broken for a little bit, then naturally as the strands start to break on the snap in the wire itself, resistance starts to build up, and that's obviously where the heat comes in and the burning. I mean, sometimes what you can do is keep stripping back and eventually you'll find where the end of the burn is and not the whole piece has, and then you can rebuild from there and rebuild from the other end. But you can sometimes end up being the actual entire whole wire itself and the internal is just burnt. It's the problem with electrics, you can't see it, you know. If this wire's got the same issue, how do you know? It's there, you don't see it, you can't see it. As you can see, it's coming up nicely now. Lost one of the bungs. Oh, get another one, it's alright. This is one of the reasons as well why probably end up replacing it, because one of the reasons why black teak is around one and not the other is because there's two brown and whites on this side. It's part of I think it's the right side indicator circuit, I think. It's one of the sides. And naturally you don't want to get them too mixed up, because obviously then your indicators won't be working as they should. It's very easy to get them too mixed up. There we go. Get the WD-40 on my carbon cloth. Get it right down. As you can see now, it's much more usable copper. There's still a little bit of tinge down there. I can get that. Not a problem. And just a nice mark down. Look over. Like I say, it's nice shiny usable copper again. If you wanted to, you could actually remove all the insulation and do that to the entire bit of copper and put it back together, but that's a big job. So from there I do the twisty, and I like to fold it in half, like so. Gives you more meat to bite. And what I can try and do, let me just see if I can get a bit close on the camera. What I'm doing here, one second, so if I put it like that, there we are. How's it looking? Yeah, it's looking alright for the camera, it's looking a bit better. You can see now we've got a bit of nice copper to make the contact with. Always before you put one on the other side, make sure you're putting the right ones. So I'm using these. On the other side, just neat. One second. Yeah, on the other side we're using the female contacts. Focus, yes, we're using these. And a good thing to do before you are going to install them is a little tang back here. Stick a little screwdriver down. Just make sure you push that up. At the same time, squeeze these in. These are good squeezing in. Like so. It'll bite a lot easier. And then the same again up here, you got this little tang. Just make sure it's bent back just right. Almost like a 45-degree angle is what you're looking at. So when you go push it in, these will come out a lot better. And also same again, you want to kind of, at the back, these, just give them a little squeeze in. They'll go in your crimp device a lot better. I was also testing last night, you know, when you're crimping these things, you've got multiple jaws in your crimp device. Got this one, this one, and lots of jaws. As you can see, the jaws are changeable. And it's tricky to figure out what's the right one for each job. I found for these ones, these are the cheap jaws. As you can see, these jaws are much cheaper quality, but for these ones, they actually work pretty well. Weirdly. I normally crimp on this one, and then I'll run it through the next crimp as well. Because that seems to tidy it up. This crimps it nicely out and tidies it up. I don't know how or why. So you move it up a bit. I've got to feed it in there with me here, because this is a bit of a tricky job, but kind of feed, feel it. The same thing, you'll make sure it goes in the device right. If it doesn't, back off. Especially on this black one, I've not got much wire to chop. Yeah, not an opportunity, so I'll make it come right. I say I weren't doing that one because that was just what's this. That was just me doing an example. That's how easy it is to cock up. There we go. How many? Oh, wrong goal. There you go. And then when you think it's about that, get crimping. So that one doesn't do too bad. There's also, don't forget to tug test. That's not done it too bad, to be fair. Sometimes it generally depends on the thickness of the wire. If your wire's too small, these could be a nightmare to do. Quite happy with that, to be honest. I mean, I could squash it down with this one. Let's have a look. Actually, we'll leave that one. We'll leave that one. I'm happy with that. To be fair, sometimes you don't need to, but you can, if it doesn't feel right, you can hit it with a smaller jaw on this one. It's much finer and it'll lock in a lot better. But to be fair, that's a good crimp there. I think we've done a good crimp, so that's one. Then we'll go with this one. Again, I think feeling lucky. What I might do as well, see where the chop was and the brute was, we'll cut a few mil out. Ooh. You wonder why you always find electricians' bits. There you go. Same again, as you can see, black. It's not good. Chop up a little bit more. Yeah, as you can see, black. When you get, as I said, if one or two is like it's not too bad, but quite a few just not good. And before I'm gonna ask, no, I'm not running any extra electrical accessories, blah blah blah. There's heated grips, but they're on very rarely. It could be from the time she got drowned, like her first death. So just riding for a bit of water crossing. The water crossing became very, very, very deep. She got submerged, and that's probably cause of it. There's many reasons. Let's see, just looking at that burnt. All the burnings. There you go. You need to see him on the back. See, I put these on so I know I remember that they always fall off. Hey, there we go. Once again, we're getting nice shiny wiring. And that can either be used to make a contact. Right. That's alright to me, looks nice. Get the twirlies. So the skill when you're doing the actual skill is not just the crimp, it's also having just enough to fill that gap in here. A little bit so I can go up here. In the crease and the frog, because that just there's more copper to be crimping on, and you usually get a bit of crimp. So I say for some small wires it's a nightmare to do them because of that. There's another male. But like I said, you do want to kind of push these in a bit to help the crimp start off. Same again, start with the cheat jaws. If the wire's thick enough, you can actually get away with just this one. The problem is on that one, if you can see, the jaws actually covers the whole bit, whereas if I put one this one, for example, you can actually see the jaws. There you go, proper crimp, that's how much they protrude by. Quite a bit, so it's quite a tricky one with them to get them right. Whereas this one, it just fits and sits in there really nicely. Throw it in. Yeah. Such a tricky thing to do. You got that crimp. She's on. You get the tug test. You'll feel it if it's not playing right. I mean, for that one, I will probably go in a bit on the other jaws because it's a smaller piece. This is the tricky part, because you just gotta get the bit just right. There. What this will do is crush it in more. Make it buy better. Like I say, because it doesn't get the whole thing, you've got to kind of do it twice. And then bring it in more. Just give it a finer crimp. Same again. Sometimes if you just run through them with the crimps a few times, it'll do it really nicely how you want it to. So I'm happy with that. That's done in nicely, really strong. That's two. Should we go with purple next? Once they're done, just pop them to one side. We'll try and pop them there, keeps them out of the way. So it's purple next. Can I tell you what purple is? Not off by heart, no. Something to do with the LCD, I'm guessing. Perhaps power for the LCD. There you go, we're stripping off a bit. Placing all bets, is it shiny copper or is it just dirty burnt black? Hey! I've got some shiny copper here, not too bad. We can skip the scrubbing, just get straight to the crimpings. Saves a lot of time. So again, just going to fold this over like so. Like that. One. I mean, as I said, by the feel of these wires and the amount of copper in them, this burning was all probably also slightly down to poor, like, you know, just insufficient wiring. Probably needs slightly bigger amperage wire. Crimping in. You can run through with these jaws again. Release. Come out. Bite.
And just for final measure.
Go through that one more time. There we go. No wiggle. Lovely. That's that one. We've got 3 other wires, so to stop people stop pouring people, I'll get the rest of these wires and you'll join me in part 2 where we're putting them all in the connector to the next one.